Hello there. Welcome to Little Reason. Shane Little here. It's the Daily Noose. Let's see what's going on in the world and switch to the Drudge Report and see what's going on there. Justice names special counsel. Ooh, wonder what that's all about. Let's take a look. Robert Mueller appointed special counsel. I imagine this is probably to investigate whatever hasn't happened, but the Democrats really want it to with the Trump administration. Let's see, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, or is it Rosenstein? We'll never know, has appointed former FBI Director Robert Mueller to serve as special counsel to oversee the previously confirmed FBI investigation of Russian efforts to influence the 2016 presidential election and related matters. You know, this kills me. This is a non-story from the start, and the Democrats just will not let go. They cannot suffer the defeat of last year's presidential election, and they will stop at nothing to make sure to reverse it, to reverse the will of the people. It's insane, crazy stuff. Come on, computer, work with me here. All right, Dems poll test impeachment. Comey kept notes on phone calls. Let's see what that's all about. The big headlines are always interesting to follow up on. Let's see. Comey prepped responses ahead of Trump discussions. This is from CNN. Ahead of discussions with President Donald Trump, former FBI Director James Comey prepped with his team on ways to respond to anticipated questions so that he would not come across as confrontational during the ongoing Russia probe, according to an official close to Comey. Well, of course, this is from CNN, as you can see here. This is going to be so biased and so ridiculous. I mean, CNN stands for the Clinton News Network. Of course, they're going to have a slanted point of view. Let's just check out some of the other headlines here real quick while we have time. Let's see. Republican Majority Leader told colleagues, "I think Putin pays Trump." Whatever. Ryan. What's said in the family stays in the family. Okay, yeah, that doesn't sound interesting. Inside Republican donor class panic, people in meltdown mode. That sounds kind of interesting. Let's skip over to this column 2. Trump considering Joe Lieberman for FBI director. Now that's interesting. Let's take a look at that. Where does this come from? NBC News, a reputable news source. Not. Anyway, President Donald Trump is considering former Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman to lead the FBI, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer told reporters Wednesday. Now, that's actually interesting. I have a lot of respect for Joe Lieberman. He was a Democrat, but he voted with Republicans on almost all of the issues. He was a fiercely independent streak, though, so you weren't for 100% sure which direction he would go. And I'm telling you, it's a shame that he's not in the Senate anymore. I just don't see him being the FBI director, though. Great guy, though. I think he would do a fine job if he was appointed, though. I'm just not sure that that's going to happen. Let's see. President to have off-the-record lunch with news anchors. Yeah, right. As if. Let's see. There, I saw some things up here. There's a picture of Pence up at the top of the page. Let's see. Conservatives begin to whisper President Pence. Whatever. I've got to know who wrote that. Let's see. Politico, of course. Politico. Imagine that. Politico writing a news story talking about the impending impeachment of Donald Trump, which is just ridiculous. I mean, look, there are plenty of Republicans out there that hate Trump just as much as the Democrats do. But the fact that you're going to impeach the guy when he hasn't even been in office just a few months, give me a freaking break. Not going to happen, folks. Keep dreaming. Let's see. Dick Morris, it's a disaster. Let's see what Dick Morris has to say. He's always a very interesting guy to read and watch on the internet. Former Clinton staffer, speechwriter, whatever he did for the Clintons back in the day. I didn't like him back then, but he's, you watch him now and it's like, wow, this guy's, he seems to be kind of put together pretty well. Let's see. This is by Dick Morris, May 17th, today. The Trump administration may never recover from the decision of Deputy Attorney General Rob Rosenstein. Or is it Rosenstein? We may never know. At least it's not Rufrachen. A little throwback movie to you there. To cave in to Democratic pressure and appoint a special prosecutor to investigate the totally fictitious scandal of Trump's relationship with Putin. The prosecutor, hired to investigate something that never happened, will not report Trump's innocence. Special prosecutors never do. They justify their own existence, importance, budget, and staff by finding something to prosecute. Usually the crime they end up going after is one that their own investigation created. Dick Morris has a point here. You look back at the history of special prosecutors, most notably the one he's most familiar with, Ken Starr, back in the Clinton years. Ken Starr didn't find what he was originally looking for. You know, and this happens every single time that a special prosecutor is ever appointed to look into something that the president or the presidential administration has been doing. They always catch somebody in a little white lie, or they say this, or they weren't quite completely forthcoming in this other thing, and what they end up doing is get caught in perjury or some other little process crime like this that would never have occurred if they weren't investigating something else to begin with. So, to one extent or another, I agree with Dick Morris here. It's just it's nuts. I can't believe that Trump ever agreed to that. He's the president. He's in charge. He could tell him, no, this is ridiculous. But they're going to find something, and they're going to do their best. The Democrats and some Republicans, I fear, are going to do their best to pin whatever they can on Trump. What other headlines have we got? Report: Flynn stopped military plan. Turkey opposed after being paid as his agent. Who cares? Let's see. Frustration grips White House. Leak. Staffers grow weary. Arrests of illegals up 38%. Well, let's look at that. That sounds interesting. Who is this from? From USA Today. Immigration arrests up 38% nationwide under Trump. It's about darn time. In the 100 days since President Trump signed an executive order to enhance immigration enforcement, the arrests of undocumented immigrants is up 38% from the same period in 2016, according to Immigration and Customs Enforcement data released Wednesday. Like I said, it's about time. The people, if we don't have borders, we don't have a country. And if we're just letting people flow up from any border, the Canadian border, which they're not coming across, which is fine with me. I don't want those Canucks down here any more than anybody else does. Or the Mexicans coming up. And that's the dirty little secret. It's not really Mexicans coming up here. Mexicans, for the most part, are happy in their own country. Or if they come up here, they'll go back. It's people from even further south, from the Guatemalas, from the Colombias, from all of these South American and Central American countries further south than Mexico that are actually coming up here and invading our country. Now, I don't have a problem with immigration. I don't have a problem with immigrants. Somebody said, we're a nation of immigrants. That's true. Just like every other country on the planet. That doesn't mean anything. It's not an argument to say, well, we're a nation of immigrants. We are a nation of laws, is what we are. And right or wrong, good, bad, or indifferent, we have immigration laws. And if you're not willing to follow them, I ain't got no time for you. Get the heck out. At some level, you have to have some control over who comes and who doesn't, right? Because if you don't have a country. There's no such thing. Because if anybody can come in, then anybody's going to come in. And your culture and your country and everything, your entire society will soon crumble. Particularly us, because everybody wants to come here. And I don't blame them for wanting to come here. But the people who live here and are citizens here in the United States need to be able to decide for ourselves who we let in and who we don't. And I understand fully well why these politicians are allowing this to continue. It's because we're freaking turning into Europe, all right, with all these social programs. The birth rate here in the United States is kaput. I mean, we're not reproducing. we will be an extinct whatever country in just a few more generations. But we have all these social programs, but it's all built like a Ponzi scheme. You have to have people, you have to have large amounts of expanding population, young workers down here at the bottom, feeding all of these social welfare programs, all the money that comes up. That has to come from somewhere. Well, when the birth rate falls off the cliff like it has in Europe, and some of these other countries are dealing with the same thing right now, except their immigrants are not coming from Mexico or further south. They're coming from all these Muslim nations that have a birth rate of like 20 to 1. They've got all of these foreign workers coming in to work, pay taxes to prop up their socialist paradise. Otherwise, it would have collapsed long ago. The politicians here, the reason that they're continuing to allow this to happen against the will of the American people is because they still have to pay for these social welfare programs that we have here in the United States. Because I mean, my gosh, you seriously try as a politician to get elected, walking up to the microphone saying, well, I think we need to cancel this social welfare program or that social welfare program. It would be political suicide. And so we have a really difficult problem here, a dichotomy in the American population that this doesn't make any sense to me. Because on the one hand, everyone wants all these government services, and on the other hand, they don't want to have to pay for them. Pick one, people. Pick one. Otherwise, you're going to have to keep importing workers, cheap workers from other countries that have a high birth rate to prop up all these social welfare programs that Congress is wanting to pay for. All right, let's see if there's anything else interesting. Baby boomers far more entitled than millennials. Duh. Experts. Another large-scale stealthy cyber attack underway. There's always one. Google training computers to predict when you might get sick. Well, that's kind of interesting. Let's look at that. I wonder how that's working. This is by CNBC. Christina Farr. Hat tip to you. Google, do not start playing that video automatically. I hate that. I cannot stand when websites put up. Yeah, of course I'm running an ad blocker. Keep your ad blocker on. All right. Stanford Medicine, UC San Francisco. Oh, yep, there it goes. There goes the video. CNBC, I hate you. I hate your guts. Don't do that. Naughty. Don't ever put on a website where the videos start playing automatically. I always want to click the button. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Stanford Medicine, UC San Francisco, and the University of Chicago Medicine, which stripped millions of patient medical records of personally identifying data and shared them with Google's research team, Google Brain. Of course they stripped them of all of the personally identifiable data. Pfft, whatever. It doesn't matter. You could... Trust me, as someone who used to work at a very large IT firm where personal data, a lot of it was kept, they already know who you are. They know everything about you. You might as well forget going off the grid. There is no such thing as off the grid. Even if you went off the grid, they'd still know. They'd still know everything about you. There's no escaping it. Let's see. We can improve predictions for medical events that might happen to you, said Catherine Chow, the head of product at Google Brain. What kind of a title is that? That's nuts. Anyway, in an interview with CNBC, we have validated the data and seen promising results. Those results will not be released until a formal review process. Well, that's good. My gosh. I figure they're probably... I guarantee you what's going to happen here is you're going to start searching for medical symptoms, and Google is going to recognize these patterns, right? And it's going to say, well, okay, we're going to put this and this and this together, and generally people who are having these symptoms are probably going to have this condition or this sickness. And then they're going to know, and they're going to start barraging you with advertisements for specialist doctors and specialist medications, things like that. Because why? Why else would Google do that? They want to make a buck off of you. That's why. They don't care that you're sick. They just want to make a buck off of you. All right, I'm out of time here. We'll do this again. There's plenty more headlines to do. This is kind of a different format than I usually offer up. But got other videos coming up soon. Mrs. Little, you got any comments, suggestions, questions? Graduating cord. Yeah, so the daughter comes home the other day and says something about the graduating seniors are only allowed to wear a single cord. If you're an honors student, you know these little cords that all of them wear around their neck. Well, apparently they're telling them that they, unless they've misunderstood somehow, they're only allowed to wear one of their cords if they've earned multiple honors. And I have a problem with that. Because why? Well, we don't want the people that didn't earn more than one or didn't earn any to feel bad. Give me a frickin' break. This kind of nonsense is what's destroying our society. You that soft that you just can't comprehend, you can't deal with the notion that there's somebody else out there that is better than you. Get used to it, folks. That's what life is all about. I mean, my goodness. If you can't deal with that, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, got to follow up with that. I'll verify. I'll make another video about that soon, just to let you know what's going on. Until then, thanks for watching. And if you like this video and you learned something, please like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it very much. Have a nice day.